A girl encountered something terrifying during her trip. Someone was calling for help in what should have been a deserted countryside. The kind-hearted driver wanted to pull over and help. For safety reasons, he told the girl to hide behind the car first, but he had no idea this decision would nearly cost the girl her life. Just as the driver stopped and was about to ask what was wrong, the man who flagged them down suddenly pulled out a gun. Without saying a word, he forced the driver out of the car. They thought he just wanted to rob them. Who would have thought as soon as the driver got out he shot him? This terrified the girl hiding behind the car. She grabbed her luggage trying to quietly slip away, but she didn't expect the man to get in and start the car. The girl could only crouch there, not daring to make a sound, watching the fallen driver getting farther and farther away. The girl was filled with panic. She knew if she wanted to survive she could only rely on herself. Throughout the journey the girl kept looking for chances to escape. After driving for who knows how long, the car finally stopped. When she saw the man sneaking out of the car, the girl seized the opportunity and immediately jumped out to flee. She ran into the woods before daring to stop and rest. She thought she could catch her breath for a moment, but suddenly someone came from behind and put a sack over her. When the girl woke up, she found herself hanging from a tree. She groggily heard some commotion outside, so she found a gap in the sack to peek outside. You never know what you'll see until you actually look. She saw a massive gray bear appearing below her. The girl was instantly too scared to make a sound. She held her breath, trying hard to stay calm, hoping she could avoid disaster. Unfortunately, she was still discovered by the gray bear. The bear that hadn't eaten for 3 days immediately attacked. The girl wanted to fight back, but her hands were tied and she was completely helpless. Just when the girl thought she was going to meet her end, suddenly there was a gunshot. Afterwards it became quiet outside. Before the girl could react, someone untied the rope and she fell to the ground. It turned out a hunter had saved her from the gray bear, but the hunter had no intention of letting the girl go. Instead, he locked her in a cabin. Then without saying a word he turned and left. The girl was terrified at this moment. She didn't know what would happen next. After a whole day of ordeals, the girl was somewhat exhausted. She had no choice but to lie down and rest for now. Early the next morning the hunter came to the cabin. He pulled the girl out to meet the owner of this place. After some conversation she learned that the girl had accidentally trespassed on their territory. The old man's family had lived here for years, making a living by hunting. He had the hunter save the girl for another purpose. He wanted the girl to help them continue their bloodline. Of course the girl refused. After hearing this, the old man had to have the hunter lock her in the basement again. Just as the girl was thinking about what to do, suddenly someone slipped an apple through the door crack. The girl was about to go ask for help, but that person hurried away. Although she didn't see who it was clearly, at least it let her know there was a kind person here. The girl looked outside and saw her backpack had also been brought over. She quickly brought it in and found the walkie-talkie inside. This was the only communication device her grandfather had given her for the trip. Unfortunately, this place was too remote and there was no signal at all. This made the girl somewhat devastated, but she understood that to survive she could only rely on herself. Thinking of this, the girl began to figure out how to save herself. She used an iron ring on the wall to successfully cut through the rope on her hands, but getting out of here wasn't going to be that easy. The cabin door had been firmly locked from outside by the hunter. The girl tried picking it with wire for a long time, but it was useless. Just when she thought she could never get out, that kind person appeared again. The girl looked and saw it was a handsome young man. This person was Jack, the hunter's son. Seeing his kind heart, the girl begged him to let her out, but the key was with the hunter. Jack was willing but unable to help. Fortunately, the girl noticed many ants crawling on the ceiling. This meant the wooden boards above had been eaten away by ants. She quickly had the boy find a rope to climb up to the roof, then move the rotten boards and drop down. Then the two quickly grabbed the rope and climbed out of the cabin and ran frantically toward the deep forest. Unfortunately, they hadn't escaped long before the hunter discovered this. He immediately grabbed his hunting rifle and began pursuing them. Fortunately, the two had already hidden deep in the mountains. However, the terrain here was treacherous and running wasn't easy. Jack almost slipped into the cliff when he wasn't careful. Luckily, he grabbed a tree branch and narrowly escaped disaster. Seeing this, the girl quickly pulled him up. Jack looked around and spotted a log bridge. Obviously, this was the only way across the cliff. Without delay, the two quickly walked onto it. But this was clearly a challenge for the girl who had been afraid of heights since childhood. Every few steps she had to stop and adjust. The girl quickly realized it might be the heavy backpack causing her to lose balance, so she prepared to take it off and hand it to Jack, who knew she accidentally dropped the backpack. Although she lost the communication device inside, at least it sped up her walking on the log bridge. Just as the two successfully ran across, the hunter also just caught up to this spot. Without hesitation, he started shooting at the two. Even though his own son was on the other side, he didn't care. The two took advantage of the hunter reloading to flee. Unfortunately, they hadn't run far before encountering a misty stream. The water resistance made walking even more difficult for them, and now the hunter was also in hot pursuit, getting closer and closer. Any carelessness would expose them. In this critical moment, Jack had to pull the girl underwater. Using the mist's visual interference, they successfully evaded the hunter's pursuit. After the hunter passed, the two quickly emerged and fled, but this commotion also caught the hunter's attention. He immediately turned back to chase them. Jack knew that continuing like this they would eventually be caught. To survive, they had to fight back. He had the girl hide behind rocks to distract the target, while he quietly circled behind the hunter. Just as the hunter was about to search for the girl, Jack suddenly appeared from behind and knocked him down. The hunter was caught off guard and threw his gun right in front of the girl. Then he and Jack started fighting. The girl knew this was a rare opportunity. She immediately picked up the hunting rifle from the ground. Just as the hunter was about to harm Jack, she took him out with one shot. After going through countless hardships, the two finally regained their freedom.